what first got me into music is I heard a guitar solo in one of my favorite band's songs by the Red Hot Chili Peppers called Day in California. And I was just inspired to start playing, and from there I just kept practicing more and more and just, you know, kept playing, and then eventually started playing with people, and then that changed everything. Once you start playing with other musicians, you just get better and learn different things. So that's how I started.
Now, in regards to people as influences, name it, you know, what are a few? That could be anything from actual musicians, bands, you know, friends, family, you know, any knowledge.
To answer that question, I mean, I would say that, like, I'm a huge fan of the Beatles, and like I think their songwriting is probably the best of any songwriters that I can think of. Obviously, I think a lot of people can agree with that. But honestly, like, I really don't listen to that much music, and I try to just get influenced by the people I'm playing with, or just by someone random, like, who's coming from a completely different perspective than I am, and I kind of just try to take that and put my own twist, whatever that is, and just go from there, pretty much, I guess. I don't know, I like to be inspired by people that I know, rather than some famous stars, but I'm also inspired by some famous stars. I'm a fan of Lana Del Rey, as a lot of people know. Now, continue, please.
Now, Ed Godin, the drummer and lead singer of the Guru, you've known him for quite some time, even before the band was actually official. Talk about, you know, how you met Ed and what drew you guys together.
Gotcha. I met the drummer and singer of the Guru back in 2008, I guess, and basically we just went to high school together, and I thought, to be honest, I thought he looked really cool, and so I was like, hey, I want to talk to this guy. So, you know, from there we found a similar interest in music and started playing together, and that was like right when we first met, so that was like something that we were able to do. And then from there we just kept playing and making songs, and just things kept progressing from there. We both loved music so much that it just kept building, I guess.
It wasn't pretty much a name since you first met Ed back in 2008. You guys had a jam session, you made a MySpace.
That's very true.
Put out, you know, kind of, you know, a few tracks. Talk about that day, and did you ever think that first jam session would bring you to where you are now?
It's weird, yeah. Like, I mean, we'd played a couple times together and just jammed on some weird ideas that I had or something he had, and we were more interested in playing songs like that haven't been written yet, you know, like we were trying to just make something new. But basically we just made a couple songs and we're like, wow, like, let's just come up with a name, like make a band and see if we could trick people into thinking we're famous or something like that. He might not agree if that's true or not, but anyway, yeah, we just had a good day of recording, sat down for a nice slice of pizza each, and, you know, we just bounced some ideas back and forth about the name, and I think we settled on the Guru between both of us. It's kind of a gray area who came up with that name. It was an idea that was it was molded into what it is now, I guess. So we'll leave it at that.
Now, what are the similarities with your playing styles as well as differences?
Between me and Ed, or the members of the band, or
well, yeah,
specifically me?
Ed, you know.
I don't know. Like I said before, like I have a weird interest in music, and I'm not really listening to that many artists. I don't know. I'm trying to play more than I am listening, which is good and bad in certain ways. But I don't know. We're inspired by a lot of the same classic people. Like, we're huge fans of the Beatles. I think that's kind of one of the big bonds we had. But he's into, I don't know, he's into some like darker surf, and he's definitely into a lot of Beach Boys now, specifically. But I mean, in relation to the rest of the band, we all have extremely different music interests, I guess. I don't know, just music tastes, and I think that's kind of something that makes us interesting, just because we're all coming from different places, and somehow we can make music that really is cohesive, at least, and, you know, something that people could get into, I guess.
So you say that adds to, you know, the versatility of your band, because you guys have different...
I would say so. I mean, like, I'm influenced by just a huge spectrum of things, and I know that's true for the rest of the members too, and like, I think that's a good thing to have, is diversity, pretty much, because then we have a lot of different angles to come from, and it just gives us options at that point, rather than, you know, we're locked into this one genre, we're going to be doing, like, I don't know, something, rather than we're gonna do a huge mix of everything. Like some songs go from like funky to like rockin' to like Santana-y, you know, like stuff like that. I don't know. So yeah, we have a lot of different styles.
Now, one of the the biggest events for the Guru was when you and Ed were introduced to Kyle McAvoy. Talk about how you met Kyle and just how important he's been to the band.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle was someone that Ed would jam with a lot, and then he would jam with me, and he was like, oh, one day like we should just jam together and see what happens. And honestly, like that day we wrote and recorded a song that like we're like, all right, we're doing this for real. And he has a real knack. Kyle has a real knack for booking and doing all sorts of promotion and stuff like that. So to be honest, it was like hiring like a booking agent / our other guitar player. But what it really comes down to is like we grew to just be 3 best friends, and from there we just like wanted to play shows and like show what we could do and stuff, just because we had a real we gelled pretty good when we played together. And yeah, with him doing great promotion and all of us trying to write good songs together, we tried our best to be as best we can, I guess, or get people to like us as much as we can. But when it comes down to it, we're just playing it for us, because at the end of the day, like, if you're not having fun, who is?
Now, this is a little, you guys more versatile, is adding a bass player. Talk about the time Dan George spent with the band and what that meant for everyone in the band.
I mean, like, we were a 3-piece for a while: 2 guitars, drummer, singer, which is kind of unconventional. Like, a lot of people are very turned off if bass isn't there, because it's kind of it's a huge backbone to any band, pretty much. So it was kind of a weird thing. However, we still were able to progress and get some people to like us, regardless of the bass player being there or not. But when we recorded our first ever album with Kyle, at that point we didn't have the bass player, but Dan happened to be there for the whole session and did play bass in certain areas. And like after that, we were like, oh, it only makes sense that he plays bass, just because we like him and he hangs out with us enough at that point.
Now, that was the first one that was in stereo, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Talk about your thoughts on how that little EP went.
That was just like we pretty much just had been playing a lot of shows for a while, and it got to the point where we needed like some music to show for ourselves. We didn't really have any merch or anything like that, so we were just like, hey, let's record them in my basement. Windows 98, like just cheap, like one little microphone, do what we can. And to be honest, it came out good. And really, when it comes to music, as long as the message is there, like, I don't know, someone once told me, regardless of the quality of an audio recording, if it's a hit, you'll know it, And not saying that that album was a hit by any means, but I really believe that the message was at least there enough for people to kind of get the vibe of what we wanted. And then from there, we just went to a better studio and did more legit recordings. And, we just released a new album that was very well done out, I guess, if you will. Yeah.
Before I go into that album, talk about Cafe Napoli from Watertown, Connecticut. It's no longer around now, but talk about how big that spot was for you guys.
Yeah, there was this little ice cream sandwich coffee place called Cafe Napoli in Watertown, Connecticut, and that was pretty much the foundation of how we started, as well as, I don't know, how we got really into the scene. I mean, I wasn't so much into it just because I didn't live in or close to Watertown, but the other guys in the band were heavily in that music scene and were going to shows there before we even started playing music. And then, we were like, hey, like, it's easy enough to get a show at Cafe Napoli, let's do that. And from there it grew and grew, and like a lot of people loved coming out and hanging out with us and like, just having a good old time. And unfortunately it did close, but it's still a very real part of, I think, all of our lives. It's something, it's where we started pretty much. It was our home venue that we kind of, grew out of pretty much, I guess you could say.
2011, Native Son comes out.
Correct.
Talk about Native Son.
Native Son was our first studio recorded album, and pretty much we just took the best songs from our demo album that we had before and had some new songs, and this was kind of the CD that was like kind of set the vibe for our band. Like when it comes down to it, we're a happy, upbeat, good vibe summer band, and that kind of set the pace just because the songs are really upbeat, and like I think a lot of people really got down with that type of vibe that we were putting across. And with the next album, we definitely experimented and tried some new things and, you know, gained some different of an audience. But when it comes down to it, I think we're just more of having a good time, and like, no one can really complain with that. So that's, I guess, what really kickstarted what our overall message or thing we're going for as a band.
Now, you guys went on your first ever cross-country tour. Talk about the first one you went on.
Gotcha. We've done little, you know, tours around the tri-state area and stuff like that. But you know, the past 2 summers we did, that was summer of 2013, and then this past summer of 2014, we did a full U.S. tour. The first one was just a month long, which is a very short time to cover the whole United States. But honestly, I try to look at it as just a road trip where I get to play music every night. And basically, you know, some nights there's a ton of people and people are getting down and loving it, and other nights you're in North Dakota, no one's there, and people are just very confused and really unsure just because it's a, you know, different part of the United States. But when it comes down to it, it's just a really good experience. Like, if you're a band and you're not touring, like, it's not helping you, I think. I think the best thing a band could ever do is tour, and it's just an important way to spread your music and just gain a following. There's nothing better than talking to people and just, you know, being more one-on-one rather than sending an email, hey, check out my band, you don't know anything about us. Like, we're coming to your town, we're gonna hang out with you, you're gonna have fun, whether you like it or not. That's kind of, I think the guys can agree that's something we try to go by, you know, like, it's just, I mean, if you're not having fun, what's the point? Like I said before, that's kind of the vibe I can say we're trying to go for, I don't know.
You then put out your second professionally recorded EP, Go Easy. Talk about Go Easy.
Go Easy, yeah, that was just like, pretty much after we did Native Son, we had a little bit of a time gap, and this is kind of when things started getting busy. We were all, you know, going to different colleges and trying to figure out how much of it we could handle. We weren't sure if we'd be able to continue and be as active as we had been before we all kind of went to college and stuff. But I don't know, I think at that point we were just in different places and trying to come up with different ideas and experiment a little bit more. It still does have that you know, happy, upbeat vibe, but there's a lot of songs that have a different twist to them. And I think that was something helpful in the learning process for us, because I think I've learned a lot from that in recording our newest album, which I think is a good mix of the other 2 that we had released in the past.
You've never been on radio or TV. What was it like, you know?
For the first time?
Yeah.
Gotcha. It was amazing. Like, I mean, like we talked about earlier, to think back that like me and Ed just jamming in my basement, and then like we have just some really exciting opportunities to, you know, to play some big festivals, being on the news and stuff. I mean, those were definitely huge strides for us, and it was just something I couldn't, like, even to this day, it's like kind of hard to believe, like, that, you know, it happened like that. But all I could say is just I'm extremely grateful, and what it comes down to is I just want to play music, and I think I have something that I want to share with people, if not the whole world. You know, we'll see, and I think the other guys can agree with that. And I don't really think about that too much, just because, I don't know, I don't want it to go to my head or something like that, even though it really couldn't. But yeah, I think that pretty much answers that. I don't know.
Now, talk about Adam entering the band.
Yeah, so after our first U.S. tour, it was pretty much the final year for our bass player at college, and it was kind of a pretty good focus time for him. He really needed to focus on other things, and it just, with the way things worked, we kind of needed to, you know, change things up, just because if we wanted to be as active as we wanted to, we kind of need to do a little bit of a change. And luckily, one of our really close friends in the band, High Pop, his roommate happened to be a really good bass player, and we had a show and we didn't have a bassist, and we were like, look, like, do you think your roommate can like play this for us? And we just met up with him, and he had learned our whole CD that we needed to play, and from there it was just easy. He had learned it so well and was able to, you know, pick up things really fast, so pretty much made sense, and he was just down to play whatever show we wanted to play. So you know, we just had to go where things could work, I guess, and it's working great.
Now your latest CD that just came out this past summer, Pretty Things.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm very happy with our latest CD. I think it's the perfect mix of the the two CDs. Like I said before, it's I think it incorporates kind of there's a lot of happy, upbeat vibe to it, but it is our first full length, so we do have different sides of the spectrum, I guess. There's a lot of upbeat stuff, but we do have some more of those darker instrument. Well, there is one instrumental on the track, but darker. I don't know, just different styles in there, but I think it works as a good cohesive record. And like I said about our first album we ever recorded, I think the message is there, and that's kind of the most important thing to me. So I'm really pleased with it, and I'm surprised that as a band we could write 14 songs. We've only written 8 or less in the past, and I think that's a good achievement for us in general.
Talk about the second tour you went on, and maybe compared to the first one, or just your thoughts on
the second tour. I mean, like this one was a lot longer. It was over a month. I think it was about over 5 weeks. But this one was great. I mean, we pretty much laid the groundwork. We played our fair share of paying our dues and playing some shows that weren't as good as they could be. And this time around, things were a lot easier. We were playing bigger shows. More people were into it just because of the promotion we did from the previous tour. I mean, that's why touring is so essential for an active band. It's just getting that fan base and kind of keeping it and growing it as best you can. And yeah, this tour kind of reflected that, and we had more time to have fun, and we went camping a lot, and I don't know, it was just spending that much time with people. You really kind of get to know them even more than you think you ever could. Like, I've known these guys for years, and you definitely see sides of people. It's a fun time, is what it comes down to.
Now, you guys have played at a number of universities. What's it like playing at college universities?
Colleges are great. I would definitely say that's my favorite type of just venue to be at, just because everyone's, I mean, plus that's the age we're all at now, at least our friend group and stuff. So we know a lot of people. People are upbeat, looking to have a good time, and I think our music definitely suits the college scene, just because people are just looking to have fun and just have a good time at a concert and be upbeat, I guess. So that's always fun. And plus we get lots of opportunities because lots of colleges do festivals with some really big acts, and just to be able to get the opportunity to play with some really famous acts nowadays is kind of a great opportunity, and something good to have as a band, I guess.
Talk about the fans, the support, from you got kids in high school all the way up to people, well in their 30s. Talk about how much the fans mean to the band.
Let's see. I mean, I'm saying, the huge message is just to have fun and get everyone else to have fun too. And I think that attracts more fans. Not saying that I'm we got to have more fans, we're trying to do this, but I think what it comes down to is just I think any human, if they really just give it a chance, can appreciate music that's just happy. And I mean, that's kind of the message we're promoting. And if you can't really get down with that, something's up. Just because I think everyone's trying to have fun and trying to have a good time, and just something they could relate to. And to be honest, I think we're all just trying to relate and make connections with each other. And so that's kind of how I look at fans. What it comes down to is just friends that are just helping me out, just supporting me, and I'm just so grateful. It's kind of that, as I could say.
Can you talk about how much you've grown since, let's say, In Stereo to Pretty Things? Can you talk about the development of the band?
Yeah, I mean, let's think. Pretty much when we first recorded our first album, we were just very new as a band and very new to our instruments and stuff like that. So I think in playing so many shows and forcing ourselves to try to write some more songs with each other just excelled us as musicians. And I think to this day we kind of got a good vibe of how songwriting goes and what works with us pretty much. And just in time we've just gotten better at our craft and just kind of are just honing that pretty much right now. So I think the new album just more so reflects that, rather than the beginning albums just kind of, this is what we think we could do, we're going to try it and see how it works. And so kind of we're just learning from what we've done.
Just one more questions.
Whatever you got to do, dude.
Talk about what's going through your head when you're playing on stage.
That's a tough question. What's going through my head when I'm playing on stage? making sure I hit every note, right? I love to play nice. Playing is my favorite thing to do. And I just feel a real connection with the guitar, so that's why I love playing it the most. But I don't know, just my favorite thing is just being able to play music that gets people excited and, you know, dancing and stuff. It's something that I made with my best friends. Like, I don't think there's a better feeling than that personally. Like, these are my best friends. We're doing something that, you know, that hasn't been made in a sense, you know. And I'm playing the stuff that I wrote, and I think that's great that people can connect to that. And so kind of that's going through my head is just wow, this is amazing, is all I could say. That's kind of my dream, is just to be able to do that.
I'm told you've seen a lot of different music scenes, you know, if you can, just how different, you know, being from Connecticut and then going to California to Ohio. Describe the
difference in scenes? I mean, like, people are different everywhere you go, and also when it comes down to it, the same. So it's kind of, it kind of can go both ways. Like, we could go places that's extremely foreign and we could relate heavily to these people, and like they're really into our music or the music that we're into as well, outside of the stuff we're playing. But I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just any band that's like playing upbeat music, I mean, we could definitely relate to, and like just a lot of people are trying to just have fun, because like I'm saying, that's what people are into. But I don't know, there's shows that we play that there's like heavy metal and hardcore shows going on, and like still people are able to get into it just because they can kind of appreciate that vibe. But yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. There's different people everywhere. I don't know, that's kind of a hard question to answer, just because I try to find the best way to relate to anyone, no matter how different. So I'm not really focusing on the differences, more so just focusing on trying to find a connection. And I think that's kind of the goal, you know, with any group, just to win them over pretty much, regardless of how different they are.
Name a few of your favorite bands that you've had the honor of playing with.
I don't know. We like we said about the college shows we played like a lot of festivals. So mostly the most exciting people we played with were at festivals. We played a festival that you know, like bands like Weezer and Snoop Dogg had played. I don't know, just like very, you know, stuff like that, which is very exciting. But when it comes down to it, I'm more interested in, you know, just having fun, you know, rather than, yo, I got to play with these guys, I guess.
What are your future goals for the band, you personally?
Personally, my goal is to just always progress as a musician and keep writing songs and just get better as best as I possibly can, and also just still have that good time. But I don't know, I would love to make a living, you know, performing with my best friends, like we said about playing live. There's no better feeling than playing music that you made with your best friends for people that are liking it. So if I could do that for the rest of my life, I'll be happy. So that's ultimately the goal, regardless of what my career actually is. If I could still be able to do that, I'll be happy.
And then lastly, you have a few shows coming up with the next few months, towards the end of the year.
Gotcha.
You know, what shows are those, and which ones are really exciting?
Yeah, we, you know, coming back from the tour, we kind of are taking some time to relax and kind of, you know, reflect on the things that we've missed out on being on the road. But we're really excited to be playing the Champagne Jam at Webster Hall on December 21st with the Front Bottoms and Kevin Devine and a bunch of other acts. So that's going to be really exciting. It's probably going to be one of the biggest shows we play. Webster Hall is a pretty big thing, so I'm really looking forward to that. Other than that, we just have a couple college shows here and there. October 23rd, we're playing in Hartford. I believe sometime in December we might have another show at Brandeis College, but that's not really confirmed yet, so we'll see about that. You might not need to have that in the thing, but yeah, just a couple shows going on, just kind of keeping it slow. Like I said, our band is more of a summer season band, so we play shows here and there to, you know, save up some cash, and then when it's time to go on tour, we'll have some money and be able to, you know, do it the time that makes the most sense.
Great, and we're gonna get set up, and then you're gonna play a song for us.
I'm Colin Sullivan. I'm from The Guru. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna play a song for you. Here we go. never ever have pretty, pretty things again. La 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 la, won't do it, don't do it. La la la, don't do it, don't do it. La la la, don't do it, don't do it. La la la, don't do it, don't do it. You never want to see it end. Church is crumbling again. Now I miss my old friends. Now I know, now I know. We will never ever have pretty, pretty things again. We will never ever have pretty, pretty things again. La 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 la, don't do it. Never ever have pretty, pretty things again. We will never ever have pretty, pretty things again. Thank you so much. I'm Colin. I'm from The Guru. Have a good day. That's how I started.
Now, in regards to people,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, the Guru has been another aspect of me.
That's how I started.
Now, in regards to people.